bet a lot of collectors own a volume or two of foreign manga, be it in your family's native language, picked up a volume on holiday, or most likely a Japanese volume because we're all weebs to some extent. My foreign collection is pretty modest, it's quite small, and this was my first ever purchase. It was a Japanese volume of Yotsuba and Yotsuba To in Japanese, which I purchased at the Japanese Centre in central London. And I picked this up because at the time I was learning Japanese, and this was probably one of the better purchases that I made because it allowed me to read and feel more comfortable picking up the language and understand and recognize the hiragana and katakana characters that they use. And Yotsuba is a young girl who you follow through daily life. She moves into a new town and you kind of just learn and grow with her. And a lot of her text is actually really basic and it's really big and it's nice and easy to understand. And although Japanese is very phonetic, it's very easy to read and not understand what is actually happening, but still read and, sound like you're competent. But I picked this up just because of the simplicity of the story and how it's not particularly dialogue heavy as well. I ended up picking up the entire collection a few years ago on eBay, and I think only volume 14 has come out since then. I'm not too sure if volume 15 has come out, so I'm actually pretty happy with the purchase, and I may even pick it up in English just so I can actually understand what is going on. My next purchase was a Japanese copy of One Piece. Most people should know One Piece by now. I also bought this from the Japanese Centre as well. And I think this is probably my favourite manga of all time. It also has a front cover, just like Yotsuba. And unlike Yotsuba, it has the exact same illustration on the front. So there's no difference there. In the English version, the message from Oda is actually on the second or third page. In this version, it's actually on the cover itself, so it's not on the manga itself. And just for a quick cover comparison, there are nigh on identical, although this illustration looks a little bit bigger. It's probably cropped down, not cropped, but just shrunk down slightly. And the book itself is slightly smaller as well. And I actually prefer the really small volumes. It's quite nice. The pages themselves, despite this one being rather yellow because of how old it is, the pages and paper, are exactly the same. They're not particularly bright, and yeah, it's nice and soft and easy to read. Now, the next two volumes I have are not actually mine. They are friends. These belong to my friend Talia-chan. She was also studying Japanese with me, and she read these several times and she was getting rather bored, so I decided to swap her one of my copies of Yotsuba, as I had two copies of the first volume. And yeah, she gave me two copies of Japanese version of One Punch Man. Now, if you compare volume 1 to volume 1 in English, you can see they are completely different. However, this one is missing the front cover. And if we compare volume 2, the front cover actually matches that of the English version. And then if I open up again, the illustration is different. And I don't believe you see these illustrations inside the manga. So that's a nice little Japanese exclusive there. And then I guess the banner, if you would, a promotional banner, just promotes the anime that was airing at the time, as well as the Blu-ray and volume 10 of the manga. And again, like One Piece, the paper is very much the same, and the size obviously of the volume is very small. Next, I have a copy of Death Note. This is, I believe, a Greek version of Death Note. My partner purchased this for me when on holiday in Greece. Just because I was collecting a few Japanese volumes, he decided to collect this for me. And it was at this point that I decided maybe I should start collecting other languages other than just Japanese as well. Now, to compare to the English version, again, it is pretty much identical on all fronts. The only difference really is this isn't produced by Viz, it's produced by Anubis Manga. It's got a really nice logo, which I'm quite a fan of. And unlike the Japanese volumes, this one is pretty much identical, but what I did notice is how heavy it is. It's so much heavier in comparison to the English version, and most likely due to the paper quality. It is so nice to the touch. The images, just maybe because it is so white rather than being kind of yellowy or brownish, just pop out so much nicer. It looks so clean. It's like reading it from the Viz Media app. Continuing the trend away from Japanese volumes, I have Attack on Titan. This is Utok Taitanu. probably butchered that completely. This is, I believe it's Czech. I purchased this from Prague when I went for my friend's stag do or bachelor party, or if you're Australian, his Bucks night. Now, there was a random comic book shop that my friend found. He's into like DC and Marvel and whatnot. And he found this random comic book shop when we was eating. And yeah, he decided to go when I said I'd tag along. It was just us two. But yeah, again, just like the Death Note version, maybe because it's a European thing, but the pages are so much nicer and the book itself is rather heavy. It's got a nice weight to it. And again, if you compare it to the English, it is rather small. I think the Death Note one actually is probably the same. Yeah, so the Death Note one is just the same size as what we have, and all the others so far have just been rather small. But yeah, if I compare, in saying that, yeah, if I compare this one to this one, they're roughly around the same, but this one just feels heavier just because of how small it is. And again, just like the Death Note one, the pages feel nice, they look nice, the images really pop out because it's on the white paper. Just really, really nice. I also purchased a copy of Tokyo Ghoul from the same place. This is Tokichiki Ghoul. Again, I probably messed that one up. Again, it is Czech and the pages are white, which really emphasizes all the black pages that you get, all the dark tones during the Ghoul sequences and stuff. I'd like to see what a Japanese version of Tokyo Ghoul, the size comparison is like. But yeah, again, pretty much identical. It doesn't have the TG, and the logo itself is obviously different. Then I have a German copy of Vampire Knight. I picked this up at Spiel 18, which is held at the Messe Essen Center in Germany. It's basically a big board game event, and on the last day, we were there for 4 days. On the last day, I purchased this book. It was just from a random vendor selling some books, and I found this. And my partner actually had, I think, most of Vampire Knight. And I read the first volume, and I just picked this up because she couldn't come with. And this was kind of like my, kind of me thinking of her and just purchasing it. But yeah, it's, I've read the first volume, and I think I've read the second. And the story is quite interesting. I kind of wish that we kept the volumes, but alas, they are gone now. So I have this, and I probably will just keep this with the rest of the collection. And then lastly, I have a copy of Princess Mononoke, or Mononoke Hime as it is in Japanese. Now, this was purchased in Florida when I went to Epcot Disney, and it was purchased obviously at the Japanese part of Epcot. Now, much like the other Japanese books, it does have a front cover, and the cover looks like to be exactly the same as the book itself. And rather than this being an actual manga, this is more of a picture book taken directly from the movie itself. It's just got loads of screenshots from the movie, and obviously stops and pauses during the dialogue scenes. I guess because they're screens, it really feels like you are just kind of watching the movie. They're really bright and vibrant. And yeah, I feel like it just captures that of the movie itself. And it also has, I believe this is the original receipt that they would have purchased in Japan as well, which is pretty nice. And that is my collection. With the pandemic going on and whatnot, I haven't been able to get out too much, and I don't really want to be purchasing foreign manga online. I'd rather purchase them so I have some sort of memory to them. I don't know German, I don't know Czech. I've forgotten most of the Japanese that I have learned, so I won't be able to read most of these books. I kind of just pick them up as memorabilia and just to remind me where I've been in the world. So the last year and a half, I haven't been able to go anywhere, so I probably won't be picking up any more volumes anytime soon. But it would be nice to pick up a few more. Maybe one day when I go to Japan, I don't know what volume I would pick up for myself. I already have One Piece. Maybe, no, can't think of one. So these are all my Japanese manga books, but I also have some Japanese fairy tale books, Three Little Pigs, Peter Pan. I think I have Beauty and the Beast. I have a few easy learning books and some proper textbooks like Genki One, Japanese for Busy People, Mina no Nihongo, Japanese for Everyone. And I think I have some like travel books as well for specific locations like Osaka. When you go to Osaka, it tells you kind of the locations and what they're famous for, etc. And it tells you how to kind of conduct yourself and whatnot, and what to ask for, that kind of thing. Really basic sentences. but I do not have them on me. Maybe I'll show them off at some point when I collect them from my parents' house. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any foreign manga books. Let me know what your connection is and reason for purchasing them. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.